Haristutihi Shloka 33. Koyam dehe deva iti tham suvicharya jnata shrota mantayita chaisha hi devaha ityalochya jnamsha ihasmiti viduryam tam samsara dhvanta vinasham harimide. Anvayarthaha dehe ayam devaha kaha iti itham suvicharya jnata shrota mantayita cha eshaha devaha hi iti alochya iha jnamshaha asmi iti yam viduhu tam samsara dhvanta vinasham harim ide. Dehe, in this physical body mind sense complex, I am devaha kaha. Who is this swaprakasha vastu, this self-effulgent being? Iti itham. In this method, thus making an inquiry, suvicharya, making an inquiry in depth, analyzing in depth. So here su vicharya, in this su, that prefix means sukshmataya, doing a very detailed analysis. And then what does one know? Jnata, the knower, shrota, the one who is given to hearing, the hearer, mantayita cha, the thinker, the one who is inquiring and deliberating. Eshaha devaha hi is indeed this self-effulgent being only. Iti alochya, having deliberated and understood like this, he, iha, in this inquiry of the self, jnamshaha asmi, the knower aspect, indeed I am. Eshaha devaha hi, this self-effulgent being indeed is the knower, hearer, thinker, iti alochya. After deliberating like this, then one comes to know iha, in this process of inquiry about the self, jnamshaha asmi, that knower aspect indeed I am. And who is it that makes this kind of methodical inquiry and understands? Iti yam viduhu, it is the yogis. So thus the Paramatma who is known by yogis, unto that Paramatma I offer my worship. Iti tam samsara dhvanta vinasham harimide. I worship that Hari, the destroyer of ignorance which causes samsara. Here in this shloka, how to know this Paramatma is taught in another method. It starts with a process of inquiring into the self. So, the seeker asks himself, Kaha ayam dehe devaha, who is this divinity in this body? Is it the eyes which are able to see so many forms and colors? Is it the tongue? Is it the ears? Is it the skin which is felt all over the body? We have the sense of touch. So could it be that it is the skin which is the divinity, or is it the nose? Who is it? So very beautifully there is a story through which how important is the sense organ, and finally the substratum of all this is Brahman iti Upanishad teaches through a very nice story. It seems there was a time when all the sense organs fought among themselves to see who is the greatest among them. So each sense organ claimed itself to be the greatest. Now, how to prove this? Each one of the sense organ works only in one sphere. The eyes can only see forms. The ears can only pick up sounds. Like that, each sense organ can do only one particular function. So, when this is the case, how to hold a test and what can be compared? How can a common exam be conducted? Each one knows only one thing. No one knows everything. So, how to have a test and figure out who is the greatest? So then the five senses decided to go to the one who created them, Brahmaji. So then Brahmaji thought, I created all these, of course, but if I say that any one of them is the greatest, then all the others will get angry and upset. That's a problem. Because in my creation, all are my children. How can I say one is better than the other? So Brahmaji made a plan and he said, whoever leaves this body and goes out, and then this body becomes incapable of functioning, then that one is the greatest. So initially the eyes went out for a year and came back and asked, how was life when I was not there? So all the other organs said, yeah, initially very difficult, but gradually we got used to living without you. All the other people started to say, oh, poor blind fellow. And then they helped me so much. So we stopped missing you. Anyway, we lived very well. Then the same thing happened when the ears left the body and went out for a long time. The advantage was no one who scolded was heard by the person. Like that, the same with all the other organs, life just went on. Then Mukhya Prana came and said to all the rest of the organs, shall I leave this body and see how you're all managing? Then just as even Mukhya Prana started to leave, all the senses lost their functioning capacity. So they came running to Mukhya Prana and did namaskara and said, please don't leave. Then this body itself is going to be addressed by people as this body, that body. They will no more refer to the body as respected sir, respected madam. So we all accept that you, Mukhya Prana, are the greatest. Please don't leave iti. Now if we make an observation, prana itself, which is keeping the body alive, that itself receives the power to give life and function by another power. Actually, what this prana does is it classifies itself into 5 parts and functions in 5 different places of the body. For the exhalation process, the term used is prana. Air is sent out. And then the air that is taken in and it goes to the Mooladhara is Apana Vayu. Then in between the central portion of the body, around the central area, there is Samana Vayu. What does Samana Vayu do? It equalizes the air. That is, how much ever air is drawn, same amount has to be sent out also. If you take X amount of air and you leave less, then the stomach will bloat. And the reverse also is possible, then that's also a problem. So how much ever you take in, the same amount of air has to be sent out. So this kind of a equalizing of the air is done by Samana Vayu. Then there is this Udana Vayu, which remains up to the neck, and usually it doesn't do anything, but it's like a emergency doctor. Any toxin which enters the body is quickly pushed out from the mouth by this Udana Vayu. And of course, the one most important job is the Udana Vayu functions in the end. It gathers all the other functioning airs and it helps to pull out everything from the body. That is what we call as death. So the Udana Vayu does that. Then Vyana Vayu is in the stomach. All the food that is eaten, from that the nutrients are assimilated by this. Like this, in general, the Pranavayu does so much work. Now, this is actually a very brief explanation that I have given about the Vayu, just to point out how it classifies itself and does very important functions. There is another vichara to be done over here. See, if we notice, eyes get rest when one goes to sleep. The ears also get rest. All the 5 sense organs, they get rest every night, at least for 6 hours. But think of the pranavayu. It never gets rest. What will happen if pranavayu seeks rest? From the first breath when the body is born till the last breath, there is no rest at all for prana. Then we have to rightly ask this question, Koyam dehe devaha, ayam dehe devaha kaha. So, kaha aham, when we ask, who am I? Then that devaha mentioned as aham, who is it? Kaha ayam dehe devaha iti itham suvicharya. When this question is introspected upon and it is analyzed very well, because each organ claims to be the greatest, this whole analysis took place. Now, this analysis itself, who can do it very well? Only the Upanishad can do this vichara. So, what is the Upanishad saying? That is what is written in aphorisms, sutra format by Vyasacharya. He has written about 555 Brahma Sutras, classified into 4 chapters. Now, for this question, Kaha ayam devaha, who I am, is very well analyzed, so we all can understand. So that's why Vyasa Bhagavan, he starts his Brahma Sutra with Athato Brahma Jignasa. So who is that? The Jnata, the Shrota, the Mantayita cha Eshaha hi Devaha. The one who is the knower, the hearer, the thinker in this body is indeed this Devaha. Devaha is self-effulgent, Swaprakasha Vastu. Now, let us analyze any action that is done by this body. Like, for example, take writing. You ask a writer, what are you doing? And he will say, I am writing. After some time, he puts the pen down. Then you ask, what happened? He will say, the pen is not writing. Now, does the pen write without the person in hand? Initially, he said, I am writing. Then he said, the pen is not writing. So then, how can we understand this? A short analysis at this point will help. See, the pen cannot be used without the hand. The hand is also an instrument. It cannot move without being backed by the mind. That mind itself functions because of Devaha, who is a Swaprakasha Vastu. So, in and through every action, every Kriya, it is the indwelling Sat causing the performance of every action and as though experiencing the result of every action. Iti alochya, thus analyzing and understanding in this method, iha, in this very body itself, amidst all the organs which function, Nyamshaha is the Chaitanyam, as though a part of the all-pervading consciousness is asmi, is the I which is existing, is the jiva. So, what is jiva? It is the jiva which is as though a part of the chaitanyam, consciousness. Now, if you start this inquiry, vichara, as kaha aham, who is it that I am, then you will end with, or you will arrive at the understanding of soham, saha aham. Saha means tat, that Paramatma. Aham is I. So then aham Brahma asmi. This is what we will arrive at after a structured way of analysis. So all the saguna forms of divinities, that is divinities with attributes known by the names Shiva, Vishnu, Bhagavati, Skandha, etc., their existence is in Chaitanyam. It is Nirguna Brahma which is their Swarupam. So, whoever is your Ishta Devata, you have to understand that its essential Swarupa is Chaitanyam. That Chaitanya Tattvam is spoken of as Brahman. So, to that Brahman who is understood in this method of inquiry by the yogis, I offer my prayers. Tam samsara dhvanta vinasham harimide. Knowing that Paramatma removes the darkness of samsara. Hence, I worship that Paramatma, that Hari. Koyam dehe deva iti tham suvicharya ज्ञाता श्रोता मंतयिता चैष हि देवः इत्यालोच्य ज्ञांश इहास्मीति विदुर्यं तं संसारध्वान्तविनाशं हरिमीडे. नमस्ते.